Hey bakers, are you having a hard time getting that royal icing consistency just right? Well, I'm here to help. Welcome to our page, where we're going to learn, shop, and decorate together at Fran's Cake and Candy Supplies. Hit the subscribe button to follow. What you'll need: royal icing mix or meringue powder, cool water, confectioner's sugar, piping bags, a mixer, bowl and spatula. Today we are using the Celebake's Royal Icing Mix, but you can use the meringue powder to make your base royal icing. Just follow the directions on the back of the bag. What I like about the Royal Icing Mix is that it already has the confectioner's sugar and meringue powder mixed in. All I have to do is add 1/3 cup of cool water. A Celebake's Royal Icing Mix is enough to decorate up to 3 dozen cookies. You want to mix your icing on low and gradually bring it to a medium-high speed. Don't forget to scrape down the bowl as you work. You will mix your icing until it creates stiff peaks. You can then add your flavoring and give it a final quick mix. Now let's talk about the 3 different consistencies that cookiers work with. There's what you initially get when you make your royal icing, what I call the outlining consistency. If you make small peaks with your spatula, the very tip will slightly curve over like a wave. This is what I like to use to outline my cookies or make detailed lines and wording. Next, I'm going to add about 3/4 of a tablespoon of confectioner's sugar into my base royal icing to create an extra stiff consistency. You'll know how much you need to add when you start to see very stiff peaks forming that don't curve over. This is perfect for piping flowers and decorations that you really want to pop. Lastly, I'm going to make my flooding consistency. This is what I use to flood my cookies for a smooth finish. I start by adding small amounts of water to my base icing. Use a teaspoon to add a small amount at a time. Mix well and use the 7-second rule. I start by running a few streaks over the icing and give my bowl a gentle shake while I count to 7. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you still see streaks, that means you need to add a bit more water and repeat the process. This is a very repetitive process and you have to be patient. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect! If the streaks disappear by the count of 5 or 6, it means you added too much water and it will be too runny and slide right off of your cookie. This means you need to add a little bit more of that outlining consistency, mix, and count again. Lucky number 7 with a little shake. You can also just let your bowl sit still and count to 13. Now let's compare the 3 consistencies. Starting with the outlining consistency, you'll notice that the icing keeps its form, sharp corners and sharp lines. Next, with the flooding consistency, you'll notice that after a few seconds that the lines and corners start to slightly melt down and blend together. For the extra stiff consistency, I am using a star tip so that you can see how the royal icing keeps its sharp edges and form. Don't try to use a piping tip with your base outlining consistency. Here's an example of what happens. At first, it looks like it may hold its shape, but remember those small wave curves it created? Now I piped the exact same thing with an extra stiff consistency. After a few seconds, you can start to see the outlining consistency starting to lose those sharp edges, almost like it's slightly melting in together, where the stiff consistency stays extra sharp. Here's an example of all three consistencies. I use the flooding royal icing to flood the base of these cookies. I use the outlining consistency to pipe the strawberry vines, the baby fonts, and the smaller details. The extra stiff consistency was used to pipe the ruffles on the onesies, as well as the large and small flowers. Let us know if you have any questions in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more baking tips and tricks.